thought I'd give you guys an update. Got the motor pretty much in its final position. Got the CV angles worked out. A lot of the other kits out there, people that have tried to do this, end up with like 15, 20 degrees of CV angle fore and aft, which the amount of power I want to make, I'm just not willing to make that compromise. I think a lot of the other people that built this kind of compromised for that in order to make the rest of the kit simpler. Don't have to cut the firewall as much. Stock seats work, things like that. But for me, I didn't care about the extra work. I just want to make sure that the CVs last, at this power level. So let me show you where we're at. This is the engine's final resting place. You can see I cut the CV so I could easily move the motor in and out. You can see here, forward is that way. Got it as far forward as I can go. It's actually, right now, rubber boots lightly touching the subframe. Right there. So I'll end up grinding probably a ½ inch or something out of that casting in order to make the clearance I need. But bottom line is it's about as forward as it's going to get. It's pretty close to stock angle actually. The gearbox is so much wider. Let me go back here. So you can see how wide the gearbox is on this side. I mean, there's like no extra room. I mean, everything's like super, super tight. So right now it's the frame rail for the kind of differential cover there. But what that allowed me to do is get everything up high. The motor is not the lowest thing in the car, which is good. You can see the cross member, right? That's all I've done is fab this metal piece goes across and the motor mounts go to that. Show more of that in a second, but look how much room is on this side. So the whole gearbox is offset to the right, and it's not the motor. If you look at the kind of cylinder head gap right here, and you can kind of peek up through there, it's basically the same. Maybe go up under here. You see there's plenty of room on both sides. Motor centered, but gearbox is offset big time, so that made this axle a real pain in the ass. But I took the spring off. You can see, kind of took the spring off there, jacked this up to ride height, because right now it's way below droop. It would never be this low. You can see there's a pretty big mismatch there. Anyway, but at ride height, got it down to where the axles are just barely down, maybe 2 degrees, and they're forward about less than 5 for sure. So it should be pretty safe. The guy building the axles for me said 2 to 5 is great, up to 10, no more than that, and so I'm about 5, which is good. Anyway, so you see how much room this thing has. So got tons of room on the side of the motor. My accessory drive is going across the bottom. There's going to be alternator and water pump. And then on the other side, be the AC compressor right on the bottom, like right kind of in the firewall right there. I haven't cut that yet, but it's going to go right there. And then as we go backwards, kind of see all this room up in here for mufflers or whatever. I mean, I want the car to be pretty quiet, so it's going to have pretty good sized mufflers on it. Also, got plenty of room for diffuser. I think I'll end up being able to put a pretty nice 7-10 degree diffuser off the back of this car on either side of the gearbox, so that'll be good. Anyway, so really spent the whole weekend. I probably took the motor out 30 times trying to trim the chassis, get it all the different variables right. And then once I got it kind of all fitting and the CVs lined up, then I had to get the engine square to the car so I could start fabbing mounts, which is a lot easier said than done because there's nothing really machined on the car that's square. So like mounts on the left and right are always the same. Yeah, like the suspension pickups kind of are, but the transmission, obviously the castings, nothing's the same. The transmission's offset. So I try to find machine surfaces on everything and just kind of triangulate and measure. And also I bolted a level actually onto this machine surface and ran it out the back of the car like 3 or 4 feet. So any angularity would be pretty obvious. Plus I want to start actually welding up the mounts. Obviously the left and the right mount should be identical, so I'll measure the two, and if they're off by 16th or something, I'll just average them. So when it all bolts up, it'll kind of pull it square. And here going inside, you can see I pulled the interior out so I could cut and weld and all that stuff without catching the car on fire, although I did catch it on fire a little bit, you can see right there. And so there's the motor. Not much clearance there, obviously that's going to have to cut away. I'm not going to run factory water pump, which you see here. I'm going to run a Mizier mechanical, which is a 3D print of half of it. So this is going to go on the left side of the motor. Well, anyway, missing the pulley, but this is the size. You can see the outlet on it. So I'm going to have to obviously cut a bunch more out, but it's not going to affect the seat. You can see I've blocked the seat out. It's got plenty of room. It's got probably an inch where it's sitting right now, and the seat's enough back right to where it is. I could even handle a little forward if I had to. It's a Tillet carbon seat, so it's super, super narrow, but so I've got room, and the motor's definitely pretty far forward. And I'm actually going to have to, because how 404 is, everybody else has left this piece right here. I'm going to have to cut it out just for the pulley. So the pulley's going to come to about here for the harmonic balancer portion. The belt's going to be behind this though. So the accessories are behind all this. It's just this center piece I'm going to have to cut out just for the pulley, and I'll show you why. So that's it there. Like I said, not a lot done this weekend, although lots of hours in and out with the motor, making sure everything is perfect, and trying a bunch of different pulleys. Thanks Sam Miller for letting me try some of these stuff. He let me borrow it from his shop. So I tried a bunch of different pulley combinations. I'm going to run an LS3 dry sump, so I have to deal with this big cover, so I'm limited on pulleys. But if you look at, basically this is what I'm going to end up doing. This pulley here is ATS super damper, but none of this is going to be ribbed, because that's the part I showed you a second ago. It's going to stick through inside the car. So I'm going to build a sheet metal enclosure around it, obviously. And then this, which normally would just drive the AC, it's only a 4 rib. I'm going to do a 6 rib on the back, and that'll drive all the accessories. So this will be just flat, because you need the material. You see how thick this damper plate is right here. It's like an inch thick. So I've got to have this inch of material here, no matter what, for the damper section. So with no belt, and then just a single belt. So I got to figure out how to route one belt around accessories on both sides of the engine, which in and of itself will probably be not so much fun. So we'll see how that works out. We've got lots to do. I'm gonna hopefully by next weekend have the motor mounted, so it's actually permanently mounted in the car. Maybe not permanently. I'll probably come out another 10 times, but at least the mounts will be done. Then start boxing in the car that I have to cut. I need to get I need to get the accessory mount finished so I can finish cutting the car, basically. 'Cause once I have all the accessories done, I can finish cutting the car. And once I finish cutting the car, I can box it all in, clean it up, and kind of like do like a last assembly before I pull back parts or painting it, stuff like that. And so that's where we're at. Lots of work, but nothing really happened. So, but here it is. It fits. Again, there's actually a lot of room in a lot of places. Then there's no freaking room in some places. But got it to work. Looking forward to getting this thing going. Tune in. Make sure you subscribe. See you.